with the, well, Yellow Empire wanting to expand and liberate some places. But they failed to start it. And by delaying the start of it, they decide to start it and it goes really bad. They managed to advance to here. Well, their advance kind of didn't go well, as they get pushed back really far. Quickly, this gets out of control. But before the Yellow Nation can fall, a militarist dictator rises. Well, this color isn't used. And over, this new government rises to power. And this is the people's will. This new empire. New. The Green Empire. Yeah. I still see it as the Yellow Empire. I need to name this nation. Let's name it Krakaka. Krakaka. Yeah. Krakaka. Krakow. I don't know what to call it. This is bad. The Green Empire. What should we name it? The Revolutionary Front. No, that's bad. Yeah, we need to name the Orange Nation too. Is this nation managing to push back? And we manage to take these lands. Will this nation be a mix between wanting to liberate and wanting to expand? They're a mix of both. With the Pink Nation starting its invasion, believing this will help that nation. With the Pink Nation launching a few advances and moving into what we would call the lowland. But, luckily, the Orange Nation is much stronger than this nation in this region, with more forces and more everything in this region. Well, the Orange Nation knows this and they take advantage of it. And they advance along the coastline and into the southern part of this nation, with this nation's colony here being forced to fall. Well, they managed to take out a colony now. One. But the Orange Nation's advance leads to a stalemate on this front, as they got more troops in this area. Well, with the Blue Nation wanting an ally to change what's going on, not struggling to find one, as they start moving closer to the Green Empire, who's struggling on two fronts. Well, the Pink Nation needs a name too. And the Beige Nation too. Well, they finally kicked them out of this part of the border and that part. They are quickly crossing the border. Orange Nation's not having fun. But this is where the Green Nation, which is the Yellow Nation, decides to continue. But I can't keep calling it the Yellow Nation. They launch an offensive into here. With this nation here deciding to align itself to liberate some of the nations. With them liberating a bunch of areas with the goal of annexing and creating puppets, basically. No liberation. Well, the Pink Nation and the Green Nation decide to align with each other. Why? Because they could. And then they get pushed back to the border again, past another area of occupation falls. With this nation finally deciding to take action as they enter the war against this nation, with the goal of gaining back some key territories. But not long after they intervene, they're already launching an invasion cross-border into here. And they're successful as they start building up their army, which leads to less pressure on this part of the front, which leads to a counter-offensive that manages across the border in a few areas, but they stop after capturing a few villages. Well, this nation continues its advance. Well, over here, you may be wondering what's happening. Wait, I thought they took land over in this area. I guess I was wrong. Did take it there. But this nation over here on the verge of collapse. Not collapse. But on the verge of rebellion. But the rebellion never happens because they stabilize the situation. With the Orange Nation launching another offensive. And then they cross the border some more to capture some of the northern part of this empire. As the Pink Nation advances even further. As the Beige Nation decides to stay out. With the neutral state there not wanting to do anything. As they make a landing here and advance north. Seeing the collapse, this nation moves more forces to this part of the front, moving them from some of the puppets. Why, you may ask? Doesn't that seem like a bad idea? Well, the collapse of that nation is starting. And so all the nations decide it's time to partition them, basically. With the Green Nation deciding to do this. With it surrendering after this country's advance. To the other nation. Or the Orange Nation. Who had a big success there. They're starting to have more of a success here. And they started advancing deeper into this one colony. Trying to liberate their own. It's not really a fast-moving front. But they started another offensive against a different colony, this time over here. And well, on one front, it's not going good, but on the other front, it's starting to go good. With this nation, don't think they border at all. Besides, in that front, decides to join, viewing it as an opportunity for expansion. With the Pink Nation starting to struggle. And well, the Green Nation's on a bit of a stalemate. But they break through again. With them deciding to sign a treaty with them to get out, seeing their allies collapsing. And well, their ally does eventually agree to stop this war too, with their backup out of a few areas by both sides. Just for a while, they wait for the peace treaty. So let's see the final result. Now for the peace treaty. Ow, that's not good. Country is established after this nation over here. Nation that lost territories is upset about their losses. So they go on a colonization expedition. And they decide to land over here. Which leads to the inspiration to a few other nations to continue their advances they have previously made. As this nation's becoming weaker as the days pass. And while this nation decides it's time to land, and create a colony without wearing their country notifies, so nobody knows it's them. Except one nation. Except they're also doing that. With this nation deciding, let's just give in to their demands a bit. So let's see how it goes. With this area being gave to the Orange Nation. This nation being gave to this nation. And this nation finally saying it's them who did it. And they get this. With the newer nation to come here, taking this. And this nation over here takes that. Why so much? And they also make that another colonized spot. But this nation doesn't. It's still one big colony. Because that was their plan all along, one big colony. And well, this nation annexes its piece of land. And well, this nation takes a piece of land, with this nation being greatly weakened, making it easy for another nation to invade, which actually starts a war with them over here. And this nation is expanding its new strength and testing it out, as they test out new strategies, which worked really well. And they develop peace treaty annexing this, and making a puppet over there. They learn from their biggest enemy how to conquer stuff. And with them sending an ultimatum, which surprisingly does well, and they get a big chunk of land out of this nation, as they plan to launch more invasions in the future. They're not done. Their expansionist ideals are coming back. And well, wait till the next episode to see if they actually capitalize on it. And that's all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and non-delay subscribe. Bye, guys!